Okay, great. Well, then let's go ahead and get started. So, Crystal, we're good to go.
Yep, okay, go ahead.
Okay, awesome. All right, so hi, everyone. Welcome to the Add-ons community meeting for July 31st. Thanks, everybody, for joining us. So far today, we've got myself, Caitlin, Sylvain, BJ, Shivam, Andreas, and Jorge in the meeting. So thanks, y'all, for taking the time to meet with us today. I want to give a quick shout out this morning to Shivam for organizing a lot of folks to come in and patch some bugs on AMO and on Extension Workshop. It was really delightful to see a lot of new contributors coming in and getting that good first bug and getting some mentorship by Shivam to help get their patch in shape. So thanks so much, Shivam. It's really, really awesome. Okay, so we've got a couple of discussions and updates. The first one is just a quick note. If you want to apply to host a session at this year's MozFest in October, those sessions are due tomorrow. And the request for travel stipends to host those sessions are due tomorrow. So if you've had an idea of something that you want to share with a group at MozFest or something that you want everybody to build together, make sure that you get those proposals in by the deadline. That's super important. If you are planning on submitting, or if you have already submitted a proposal about anything related to add-ons, we would love to hear about it just to see, just so that we can track that proposal through the selection process. And make sure that if your session topic gets selected, that we help advertise it and let folks know that they should totally go to your session at MozFest. So if that's happened, please feel free to just drop a line in the agenda or reach out to me directly. And best of luck with that. We would absolutely hoping that we get some add-ons representation at this year's MozFest. Any questions about MozFest? Okay, cool. This year is the 10th year anniversary, which is kind of crazy and kind of nice. I also just wanted to give an update that you might be seeing some stuff about Firefox extensions and the safety thereof in the news. Recently, there was an article from Ars Technica about some insecurities in the Chrome system. And there's like a really big deep dive report. So if you want to check that out, go for it. There's a similar article in the Washington Post. I'll try to find that and post a link there. But this is the sort of stuff that we've been really focused on this year is how do we make it so that malicious extensions that snoop on people's privacy and compromise their security don't get installed by users. So we've been spending, so as you know, we've been spending a lot of time this year kind of vamping up our efforts to find malicious code, to get in front of it before users can install it. And if we see it, to respond, make our response times faster in terms of taking it down and hopefully even preventing it from being uploaded in the first place. It's a pretty challenging space to be in, but this is the sort of stuff that we're kind of dealing with. So feel free to go ahead and check out that article.
One thing I'm concerned with is the second versions of software. If they update something that people like and then put malicious code in the second version.
Yeah. Yeah, Jorge and Andreas, you wanna say anything about that?
I want to. It's always a little tricky to talk about those things without revealing too much in a public environment. But we are taking steps to cover this case as well. So we will probably take a closer look at everything that gets submitted, and not just the very first version. And so that should cover subsequent or malicious additions in subsequent updates as well.
Good.
Yeah, one thing that we've noticed is that sometimes people will get really successful and then they'll sell their extension to somebody who will then load it with malware and then they'll try to monetize off of that. So we're trying to an eye open for that. But yeah, the minute that somebody tries to go down that path, we want to pull it. And so I think part of our problem too is how do we incentivize people to not do that to their extensions? Like, is there a version, like, we have the stick, but like, what's the carrot to help people like kind of, think about what's best for their users and take care, come at it from a user first perspective rather than I'm going to sell this and make money, even though it's maybe not strictly ethical. Yeah, okay, so it's been a while since our last meeting, so y'all have probably noticed this, but recommended extensions are now live on AMO. So if you go to AMO right now, you'll see that all of the content that you can access from the home page goes to recommended extensions, and recommended extensions are denoted by their recommended badges. So when you search for extensions, if you search for a particular kind of extension, recommended extensions should now be kind of at the top of that queue. And then in Firefox, if you go to the discovery pane in About Add-ons in the Add-ons Manager, you should now only be seeing recommended extensions suggested proactively to you there as well. So that feature is now live. We've got about 81 extensions in the recommended program, and we're still continuing to grow it out slowly. So, so that is underway, and congratulations to Scott and everybody on the AMO team for getting that launched within about 6 months of the program inception. And then just as a quick heads up, we've been doing a little bit of communication, but we do have some deprecated properties coming up in Firefox 70, which is in nightly at the moment and is going to go into release in October. So a couple of theme properties have changed. We have replacement theme properties that people can use instead of the properties that are going to be removed with Firefox. So this impacts anybody who has a dynamic theme. We weren't able to run a conversion on that automatically for those folks. Static themes that are listed on AMO, we've run a script in the background to get them converted to the theme properties that are not being deprecated, so they're safe. And then there's some particular Firefox specific JavaScript arrays that are also going to be removed from Firefox 70. Those are a little bit harder for us to identify on the back end. So we just put that in a blog post to give people a quick FYI that those are coming. So feel free to spread the word to folks that they might want to, if they think that they might be at risk for potential breakage, they should take a look into that sometime in the next couple of months, just to make sure that nothing breaks.
Do we have any newsletters lined up where we could include that?
Yeah, I just need to get the newsletter. Yeah, I need to get a newsletter out pretty soon. So I'm going to include that in it for whenever it can go out. You know what, maybe I'll try to work on this week.
Cool. Yeah, that sounds like a great opportunity. If we have a newsletter lined up anyway, we could just include it and reach a wider audience.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, I think that's a great idea. Okay. Another thing that's coming up is that we're going to be converting search plugins to web extensions. I think BJ has encountered some of our really old search extensions due to a thing that happened with a content review being re-triggered for everything in AMO. So BJ's unfortunately had to see the huge queue of search plugins that were created 11 years ago. I'm so sorry. So I'm not 100%, I've seen some conflicting messages behind the scenes about what's going to happen. So I actually wanted to ask Jorge and Andreas if you could comment on kind of what is going to be happening with the conversion, or what you know right now about what's happening with the conversion.
Yeah, so the plan is to transform all of the search add-ons that we have now to extensions. So they will essentially be a web extension that uses the search API or whatever it's called to do the same that it does now. The difference being that they're going to be extensions. That means that they're going to be an XPI file. They're going to be signed. They're going to have compatibility information. They're basically going to behave like more like normal add-ons than right now that they are more of an exception. They're just like an XML file with some metadata. And this is in preparation for Firefox dropping support for the old XML format. So moving forward, only extensions will be allowed to change the search. So yeah, roughly the plan is to, at some point, post something on the blog or whatever, and shut down submissions of those types. And then after that, we would run the conversion, which would also require some messaging to the developers, though most of those apps are abandoned because they're a thing like you create once and forget about it. But yeah, we're still figuring out the specifics.
Got it. So in the meantime, as a step that we want to take to kind of help out with the content review queue is Andreas proposed writing a script that would take a look at the search plugins and see which ones of them go to like dead end search providers, so like search providers that don't even exist anymore, and then just automatically rejecting those to at least clear some of the clutter out of the queue on AMO. As Jorge said, a lot of these are abandoned, we think. So yeah, it just kind of sucks to have to go through extensions that plugins that may not be maintained. We might continue thinking about ways of mitigating that annoyance. But Andreas, so what do you think the timeline would be on kind of like building and running that script?
It depends on how urgent this really is. It is a little bit of effort since we have to pull all the add-ons, pass the entire code, extract the URLs, and then check each URL. So even though the script will make stuff a bit easier, there's still some quite some manual stuff involved. Also, once you have the results, you'll probably have to reject those add-ons manually, since we can't automate that easily. So I would say a couple of weeks. But it really depends on how urgent this is, and if we want to get this in sooner, we might have to, prioritize this.
A couple of weeks.
And then see how it fix other stuff.
A couple of weeks is reasonable, but if it's longer, it would be nice if the content review was sorted by last modification, because right now, if someone it takes a year-old add-on or 2-year-old add-on and puts an update to it, it's several hundred entries back.
Yeah, that makes sense. And I think that could be something that would be easy to fix for next week, since we just missed the deadline for the code freeze date for this week. But resorting the queue would be something that we could look into, yeah.
That would be great. Jorge, is it okay if we file a bug for that for next week?
Sure.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, I still would like to just get rid of the clutter. Like maybe this is me being too much on the Marie Kondo train. I would say depending on when we want to. So I guess my question is, when we run the conversion, is that going to be like an opt-in thing from developers? Like developers will have to say like, yes, I'm still maintaining this, and we're going to rerun it.
No.
Okay, so just everything, regardless of how dead it is, will be converted.
Yep.
Yeah, I would say like a couple weeks is fine then to run the script, because I think we should get rid of some of the dead stuff, especially if it's going to be in extensions and people can stumble into them.
Bear in mind that the conversion is not happening anytime soon. Like might be a couple of months before we actually do it.
Okay.
Would we want to make the conversion opt-in, or is that something that we do not want?
We don't want to make it more complicated for us than necessary.
Okay.
That's fair. Yeah, I feel like if we killed legacy, I'm sorry, not that we killed legacy extensions, but I feel like if we got rid of a bunch of stuff when we switched from web extensions to, or from legacy to web extensions, I feel like it might be okay if we got rid of dead search plugins. So yeah, Andreas, a couple of weeks is fine. It doesn't need to be I don't think it's a super urgent priority, but it would be nice to just get rid of some stuff, do some cleaning.
Okay.
Okay. Cool. Any other questions about search plugins? I have like a million questions about it, but that's not for today. All right, cool. So one of the things that I've been working on over the last couple of months is migrating our Firefox-specific developer documentation over to a new site that is called Extension Workshop. So we just finished our contract with our design firm who's built out kind of like the bare bones of the site. So if you'd like to, I linked to what you can currently see on our development server. So this is code that has currently been checked in. We're still in the process of migrating content from MDN over to Extension Workshop. So our plan going forward is to continue to migrate the content so we get rid of some of the 404s that you're going to hit if you go and explore that right now. Go through another round of QA, run an update on MDN that's going to send old content, like people who land on MDN in places that have migrated to Extension Workshop. We're going to link them back to Extension Workshop, so it'll be kind of easy to bridge from one to the other. And then we'll probably be launching sometime in September or October of this year, assuming that things go well. So that's where we are right now. We have a couple of bugs with some of the search component on the Extension Workshop that were not able to be addressed by our engineer that we had while he was under contract. So pull requests are welcome, and also I might be asking Stuart if if he might be able to help us out with that when he gets back from PTO. So if you are a search expert, we would love to hear from you. So that's where we are with Extension Workshop. Any questions about that? All right, cool beans. Hopefully it will go smoothly. Is all I have to say about that. Okay, and then we get to BJ's question. So from there are add-ons in the content review list that can't be accepted or rejected by a content reviewer. So I think, BJ, is this the problem that you've been having for a while now, where you hit an extension in the queue and you can't take any action on it, and then you have to send it to me so that I can take action on it?
There's just a few hundred more dumped in recently for some reason, in the 5,000.
Okay. I'm still not sure what the underlying bug is that's causing that to happen. I think it's because those extensions get hit in the admin review queue elsewhere, and so they still show up in the content review queue, but you can't take any action. I was wondering if I might be able to get some help investigating this and see if maybe we could like fix the bug so that we could pull those extensions from content review if they're non-actionable.
Yeah, it's definitely a valid bug. And as you see, like, I have been assigned for it for a while. The reason that it hasn't been fixed yet is that it's actually highly non-trivial. There are a couple of factors which decide on whether you can content review or normal review, and sometimes the features overlap a little bit. And I have actually tried to fix this already, like last year, and then ran into more side effects where then there were other cases where reviewers couldn't review where they should, or other way around, where they were able to review when it really should like be forwarded to an admin reviewer or be exclusive to an admin reviewer. So yeah, maybe I'll just have to look at it again, but it's definitely not an easy fix.
Would it make sense to, if it's non-actionable, does it make sense to just skip it until an admin takes action on it?
Yeah, so the issue for BJ is that he sees the entries in the queue and he doesn't know whether they're actionable or not until he clicks on them and opens the review page, which is totally annoying. I agree. I would say for the time being, just forward it manually to an admin, ping me or Philip or Caitlin, I would say. And I'll see what we can do about the underlying issue.
BJ's been doing that. I'm sorry, BJ. I feel like it's driving you crazy. What about instead of like yanking it from the queue, is there a way that we could flag it that it's held up by the other queue, like add an icon or something?
So no, because it's complicated. the underlying issue is really complicated. We have different admin flags for content review and technical review, and sometimes they block each other, sometimes they don't, which is also why it's not easy to just put it in code and be done with it. And as I said, it creates some side effects. And currently, each queue only shows their specific admin flag. So in the content review queue, you only see the content review admin flag, and the same for the technical review queue. Now we could show the cross admin or the other admin flags as well, but we don't have icons for them at the moment. We would have to come up with a different icon and expose them differently on the UI, on the web page, which is currently not a thing we can do because they all show up as the same. And I'm not sure how easy or how hard this would be to fix. And maybe our efforts are just better spent on trying to actually fix the issue instead of trying to find a workaround.
Okay.
Let me take a look and I'll report back in the next community meeting.
Okay. Okay. Sorry, BJ. Are you okay with continuing as you have been? Okay.
Thanks for bringing it up again.
Okay. Are there any other questions or anything that anyone would like to share in our last 6 minutes? Okay, very good. I just want to promote our next add-on show and tell meeting will be August 15th. We have show and tells. They're mostly developer focused, but any project that you have been working on that's related to add-ons, you're welcome to come and demo it to a group of enthusiasts. Those meetings start at 7:30 in the morning Pacific time and 3:30 in the afternoon in the, what's it called? Not GMT, in the Unified Central Time Zone. So I'll link to that agenda. So if you're interested in joining us, we'd love to see you. Otherwise, everyone continue to have a great week, and we'll talk to you later.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
All right, bye, everyone.